Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Higher Ed Minute with Crystal Detweiler. Today we're going to talk a little bit about making sure that you maximize your funding opportunities, kind of cap off the funding week. Certain funding opportunities are only available at certain levels, so undergraduate levels are much easier to find funding sources for, taking advantage of things like the Pell Grants from the FAFSA, and tuition assistance is extremely important if you're planning to go on to graduate level degrees. GI Bill is going to pay for a degree at the same rate regardless of the level. So it's going to pay that same 100% of the public in-state tuition to the college, whether it's an associate's degree costing only $2,000 a year, or if it's a master's or doctoral degree costing $30,000 or $40,000 a year. Private schools, of course, will continue on with that cap of $24,477, regardless of the level. But it's really important to start thinking about that when you start creating your funding plans. You really want to think about, how far do I need to go? What am I going to need to pay for? What funding sources are available to me at each level that I need to complete? And start choosing how to maximize that. With state funding, this is going to vary by state, so that's another consideration you want to take into consideration. For example, Texas veterans, those who joined from the state of Texas and choose to go back to Texas, can get their tuition waived under the Hazelwood Act for up to 150 semester hours of tuition exemption. And this can be used towards an associate's, bachelor's, or master's degree, and can be used to help maximize that funding potential later on down the road. For other states, they have slightly different rules. They might have different max capacities or program restrictions, school restrictions, things like that. But it's definitely something you want to take into consideration. Absolutely check out all your funding opportunities before you start applying or signing up for classes and using the funding sources. Don't use a source you don't need until you need it, if you're going to need it later. Also think about, if you don't need to go all the way into graduate school, you can stack the fundings. So GI Bill always pays first, and then other alternative funding sources can come in for veterans. For military active duty, your tuition assistance is going to pay first, and then your other funding sources can step in and pay what TA does not cover, including your GI Bill if you want to use top-up. So absolutely reach out to a counselor. Speak with us. We can help you kind of start figuring out that funding plan and looking at what options might be the best fit for you and how to stack those things to make the most of what's being offered to you and what's available to you. As always, there's links above in the post. This time you're going to see some stuff about state benefits and also links to the GI Bill again. For YouTube, check it out down below in the description. And we will see you next week. Please tune in. We're going to talk about spouse and transition programs next week.